Hopefully this isn't too jarring. Normally I'm a PNG. So you might have heard of Doctor Who before. It's this little underground show about an alien that can travel anywhere in time and space and still chooses to go to modern day Britain. Like, America's right over there. What are you doing? Hey, we put beans on toast. Dude, the show has been running for 39 seasons at this point, with 26 original seasons and then a revival show 16 years later that has 13 seasons, and season 14 is coming soon. I'm throwing a lot of numbers at you, let me dial that back. Point is, it's freaking long, and like most people, I've only seen the revival series. But I'm here to change that today. I thought it'd be fun. This is part one of in a series of me doing entertainment first reviews of every classic Doctor Who story. It'll take slightly more than as many parts as necessary, and it'll be a lot of hours long. A lot of hours long. And I know what you're thinking. This seems pretty pointless. Story number 1. An Unearthly Child. Watching the first episode of Doctor Who was an experience. The last piece of media I watched from the 60s had a guy getting shot in the head, and that kind of turns you off from a time period. So it was my first time seeing this kind of blown takes being used.
Well, I don't know how you explain the fact that a 15-year-old girl does not know.
I mean, the weird effects, their odd use of sarcasm, it was cool. It was just new to me. Okay, looking back on the script, I forgot to put a transition here. That's not going to change, I'm just warning you this is going to be jarring. So the story starts with two teachers discussing a weird student they have named Susan. By the way, the woman's name is Barbara and the guy's name is Ian. Susan is always correcting the two teachers and talking about stuff that, like, she claims hasn't even been discovered yet. Which, rule number 1, as a time traveler, don't do that. The teachers, finding this weird, decide to stalk the 15-year-old girl. Were laws not a thing in the 60s? And once at her home, which I should mention is a junkyard, no red flags there, they meet her grandfather, the first Doctor. This guy is just a huge jerk. Pardon my language. Once the teachers encounter the Doctor, they hear Susan's voice and follow it into a police box. But wait, it's bigger on the inside. Now that your mind has been completely blown, which is something 60s media is apparently very good at delivering, it's then revealed that the Doctor and Susan are aliens and the teachers are in their spaceship. A phone booth spaceship. Would not have been my first choice. I would have chosen a trash can so that I could be like Oscar from Sesame Street. They can't leave because then Earth's timeline would be all janky. Of course, the teachers aren't, too happy about being locked inside, so they try and escape by pressing buttons, which obviously goes very wrong, and it sends them to somewhere else in space and time. And episode 1 ends with a shadowy figure walking up to the TARDIS and everyone inside being knocked out from the TARDIS moving. For some reason. Now we're in episode 2, and it turns out the shadowy figure is just a caveman, who's fighting with another caveman for who gets to be leader, because the other caveman is the son of the one who invented fire, but his father was killed because of it. So now this guy has to figure out how to make fire. This is very confusing to describe, but I don't know the caveman's names, so you're just gonna have to deal with it. Cut back to the inside of the TARDIS, and everyone is awake now, but Ian is still not convinced that the Doctor is an alien.
They're saying I'm a charlatan.
Wow, they made this in the 60s. I didn't realize people actually use that word. That's awesome. Anyway, Ian's basically like, show me evidence! Here's a live feed of what's happening outside. That's clearly fake! This is the 60s, we didn't have televisions back then. I don't think that's true. Well, how would you know? It's not like you were there. I demand to see true evidence! Oh my, come on. See, we're not in the junkyard anymore. Those rocks aren't real. Would you? So, well, that's just hurtful. I'm a nice guy. You are? Yes! Alright, well, what do you want? To kidnap you. Mother! Tensions start to... Why is that so hard for me to say? Tensions. I have a speech impediment. This is impossible for me to... Why did I word it like that? Things start to heat up with the caveman and the Doctor, and after all of the Doctor's companions show up, they're taken to the Cave of Skulls, which is a cave... Stick with me here! Full of skulls. The Doctor notices that all of the skulls have the same injuries. They've all been split open from the top. Ow. And then the episode ends, very suddenly. Might I add, it made me jump. To be fair, I am a bit of a wimp when it comes to that. It was, hold on. It was just my singing Menard's Bear. to Bob. So while the doctor is bonding with the people he just kidnapped, we're shown someone picking up a very large and sharp stone. Oh, they're gonna kill the doctor! Yeah, no, turns out some old lady stole the stone to free them because she's afraid of fire. They escape, and then the caveman shows up and just murders the old lady. As you should. Has socialism taught us nothing? Is that accurate? And also, is that acceptable for me to say? I should read the news more often, and then I would know the answer to that question. I vote we don't talk about this joke ever again. We must stop. We can't stop. That guy has a rock. And it's like, kind of bigger than a small one, but smaller than a big one. So a medium one. This is the 60s, Susan. That word doesn't exist yet. My bones are so brittle. Would you quit over-exaggerating? The group decides to take a break as tensions rise. The doctor and Ian are having some weird power struggle, and the two girls are freaking out. Screw Barbara! She ends up calling attention to some creature behind the bushes, and then the cave people that have been chasing the gang show up. And they get attacked. Well, the cavemen get attacked. So, thanks, Barbara. Barbara starts crying like a wuss and tries to be helpful. Stupid. I mean, it all works out, but I still hate Barbara, though. Oh, hey, the old lady. I guess she isn't dead.
You?
It's very funny when bad things happen to old people. Look, it just is. I'm sorry. No, I'm not. It's hilarious when bad things happen to old people. You ever see, Joe Biden fall? It's hilarious. The enemy caveman rallies up a clan of people, and they all set out to go kill the doctor and the friend caveman. They confront the gang, and the doctor uses basic logic to prove that the enemy caveman killed the old woman. And when the tribe hears this, they cast out the enemy caveman. As thanks, the friend caveman puts the doctor and associates back in the Cave of Skulls. Friend caveman shows up, but uh-oh, so does enemy caveman. The two have a brawl, and the enemy caveman gets friggin' bludgeoned to death. Yeah, this is rated G, and I know they're just doing it because they can't show it, but still, the reaction shots are just heartbreaking. I mean, these are high school teachers, and they're literally watching a man getting beaten to death with a rock, and they can just do nothing but stand there. Look, it's effective, is all I'm saying. They show the friendly caveman how to make fire, which surprisingly goes poorly, so they fake their deaths and run away. Like wimps! Frickin' Barbara, dude. All of us ran! Shut up! The TARDIS takes off, but the doctor messes it up somehow, and I don't know how he messed it up, okay? It's hard to understand what words are coming out of his old man face during that scene. And it causes the gang to end up in a place that isn't their own timeline. And that, kids, is the first Doctor Who story. It kept it concise and to the point. That sowed the seeds for an over 40-season-long behemoth of a sci-fi show. But now it's time for the important question. How was it? It wasn't amazing. It's not even something I want to rewatch ever again. But I also have no regrets about watching it, and I'm also not bothered by the fact that I have to watch it again in order to do the editing for this video. I've never heard of a story that explores the political ramifications of inventing fire, probably because it takes a special kind of moron to even attempt a story like that. I mean, yeah, the characters are all jerks, except for the women who are just useless. I'm looking at you, Barbara! But at least it could be understood why they're like that. I mean, they're all way out of their comfort zones and being pushed into extreme life or death situations. I would be a bit jerky too, and so would Kyle. He's epileptic. You good, buddy? He's fine. He's fine. It'll be nice to watch the characters hopefully grow and become better at handling difficult situations as the show goes on. I know for sure that the Doctor does, because, I've seen all of the revival show, minus Chris Chibnall's awful go at showrunner. I will never rewatch this. Now, if you'll excuse me, I just got the first 3 seasons of Alfred Hitchcock Presents on DVD, and I'm very excited to watch it. So, see you later. Hopefully you couldn't see my butt when I just did that. It's funny when I shout the word butt. I think it's funny when I shout the word butt.